back down here. This will be, after I started the fire, this will be the second batch of wood I'll put in. So temperature's gone down a little bit. It's been about 2.5 hours since I was down here last. So kind of check on what we got going. So I'm guessing should have, yeah, just some coals down there. So what I'll do is I'll go get some wood, throw it in. May open the bottom door just for a minute to kind of get the flames going again, and then be good to go. So let me go get some more wood. So that is the one thing with doing the wood is you got to constantly, keep after it during the day. So it's not like a normal thermostat where you can kind of set and forget. You have to constantly feed it, and like this is the indoor, one, so there's a little bit more you have to do. Whereas like the outdoor ones, you can, put a lot more in, and then since it's using water to come in, it's a little bit different. Whereas this one, since it's inside, didn't have as big a firebox. You have to kind of tend to it more. So, there's benefits, trade-offs for all of those. This one, I feel like you don't lose as much heat just because it's all inside. But you do have to tend to it more. And that's the other thing with this type here is we'll end up having much more like of temperature swings in the house where, if it's really cold at night, you may have where it gets down to 65 in the house. And then if you are running the furnace all day and, trying to keep kind of a fire going, whether it's a small one or you get a bigger one going, it can easily get 75, 77 in the house. And then you have to kind of let it die down and then, get it going again. So, there's benefits, trade-offs, all of those. Whenever we build at the 100 acres, I think what we'll do is have one of these that will do like the house piece of it, and then probably have an outdoor burner that will have the water and everything that we'll be able to use to heat the floor. So if we put all of the water in the floor, to be able to have that circulate and then heat the water from the outdoor burner, do the floor, and that will kind of have that radiant heat up. And then you can also use it for like your hot water and stuff, so you can save a little bit that way. And like those outdoor burners, you don't have to have perfectly dry wood or clean wood. A lot of the crap that we have in the woods out there at the 100 acres we could put in and just let it burn. So that is one advantage to that, whereas this, with, the long chimney and everything that we have, you want dry wood so you don't create as much creosote, and, it just starts a lot better, burns a lot cleaner when doing it that way. Whereas, with those outdoor ones, they're either, away from the house and they have, like a 2-foot chimney on them, if that, to where, if it does, like the chimney fire issue, if it does catch fire, you just let it burn out and then it's fine. So, like I said, trade-offs for all of it. Like here, it is nice. You have the radiant heat, so like if you're working down here, we do have the vents that, blow air out here, but you just have the radiant heat that comes out off of the box, because this does get warm from having that. So after getting it, this is the second time I've put wood in. Again, put 5 to 6 pieces in, let it go another couple hours, and then we'll come back in and check on it. Upstairs, it's like 73 in the house right now, so it's kind of that fine balancing act now of how cold is it going to be outside, versus, kind of how much fire you need to keep going. You can feed it to get it so that it's 80 upstairs. That's typically a little too warm. But if we can kind of keep it, that 72, 73, um, and keep a little bit of fire going, that's really helpful to kind of just keep that going and have, let it kind of die down to where you have some of the ashes and embers down there. And like as you heard, or I'm not sure if you heard, but even though it is dying down, because there's all that residual heat, the blowers will kind of still kick on every now and then because it's just a temperature-based thing on the back. Basically, this temperature, it's part of this here. So as that heats up, that piece here rotates around and then will kick on the blower. So even if you don't have an active fire going, but there's still heat in the box, it will kick that on and still circulate air throughout the house. So while you may not have, and that's the thing with this is even if you don't have an active fire going, but you've had a fire, you'll still get kind of that residual heat. So it's one of those good things to where you have that little bit more going, and goes back to like I talked about at the beginning, where everything kind of gets heat soaked and heat into it doing it this way because it's kind of a slow process. And so, just kind of blasting it with hot air real quick. This kind of lets everything, kind of soak the heat in, if you will. And I don't know, it's just a warm when doing it this way. So, let's see. We are at 11 o'clock now. So, probably about 1 o'clock, I'll come back down, check on it, see how it's doing, and see what the temperature is in the house, and see what it is outside. I think right now it's right around 32 outside, and we're getting a small dusting of snow right now. So just kind of keep playing both of them, see where it's at, see what it feels like in the house. Typically, I'll try to have a little bit more going later on, just so that like whenever everyone starts to get home, there's a little bit warmer. So just kind of keep checking on it. So I'll check back to you guys in a couple hours when it's time to put wood in again, or see if I need to wait because it's getting too warm in the house. All right, give you guys an update. It's about 2 o'clock now, so a couple hours after I checked it last time. So it's pretty much gone down as far as what's in there. Still have some temperature going, just shy of 200. So at this point, it's about 75, 74, 75 upstairs, and it's still holding about 32 out. We had a light dusting of snow today, so I think probably what I'll do now is let this finish going down. So there's a little bit of embers left down there, so you could get it going again pretty easily, but it's already pretty warm upstairs, so I'll probably let this go down, and then this evening, depending on what the temperature holds in the house, so I'll just kind of watch it and see if either around 7 8, see what the temperature is. If we need to start a fire then, get another one going, or sometimes closer to going to bed, may get one going around 10, and then let one go overnight. Try to do that on the colder nights in particular, so that if there is, if it's going to be a cold night, whenever you wake up in the morning, it's not super cold. So that is one thing. If you don't get up and feed it, obviously it's going to get cold in the house. So I know, like on this one, you can typically go all night, and then if it's a little chilly in the house in the morning, you just have to get one going right away. Other people will get up, in the middle of the night to feed it. We typically haven't had to do that. It doesn't typically get that cold. Whenever I say cold in the house, it's typically no colder than 65 a lot of times, and we like to keep it warm, as you can tell from kind of this video, keep it a little bit warmer. So probably won't feed this again until later today. This will be kind of the last part for during the day. You know, this is kind of a unique circumstance here, just because right now I am working from home. So, I'm home and able to feed it and kind of keep on going to to have a fire whenever I am at home. A lot of times if I'm at work and actually going into the office, I'll have one in the morning and kind of take the initial chill off the house. And then whenever I get home between 4 and 5, we'll get one going then. And, have to kind of catch back up to get it warm in the house again. So, um, it's definitely convenience wise, it's not as convenient as like having the propane, obviously. But as I mentioned a couple times, it's a warmer warm. It's it feels warmer in the house overall. A dollar for dollar, it's basically the cheapest of what you're gonna get. Now, if you start accounting your time and all that, there's pros and cons to both of that. With the propane, they come, fill it up, and you just more or less push a button and it comes on. Whereas with the wood, like I spend a fair amount of time, cutting it up and splitting. We have access to firewood, so we've never bought firewood. We've always had access to wood, or we'll get wood. Whenever we started out, it was more of a year-to-year thing. If you go back and watch other videos, you can see I have probably a pretty solid 3-year supply, and could easily get more split and have more. Just haven't, with that, it gives it plenty of time to dry, and burning kind of better wood than what we kind of had in the past. So, those are all things to consider if you have a good source of wood, um, whether you have land that has trees on it. And a lot of times people will cut down, trees that are either dead or, like we had quite a few storms go through here recently, so they'll cut down trees that the tops are blown out of and are eventually going to die. So there's lots of ways to, kind of get wood that isn't, purchasing it. And then other things to consider are, having a space to dry the wood and everything, and taking that time to split it. So, there is more work involved in it. It's definitely more time consuming from that standpoint, but I think, it has a lot of benefits. It's a pretty cheap means of heat, and, something that even at the 100 acres, when we get moved in there, that we'll continue to utilize in a couple different forms, whether it be a stove like this, which you can still buy similar ones to this at I think like Tractor Supply has one that's similar, and Menards and different places have very similar stoves. I think some of the EPA stuff on them makes them a little bit different as far as having reburns and everything, which does make it more efficient. It just kind of complicates the whole system to some extent, but isn't always a bad thing. So, there's different options to look at, and different routes to go. So, I'll try to record again tonight if I get another one going, but this is the majority of the day, kind of going through and getting the house up to temperature. And then from there, it's really just kind of maintaining the temperature at what you want. So once you kind of get that base heat done, you can get another fire going just to kind of keep it at that temperature, or get it back up. But having that initial, kind of getting the chill knocked off, and getting it up to kind of the temperature you're looking for, took a few hours to do, but we'll now hold that And I think part of that may be, living in the log house. The logs are a very good insulator, so you don't lose heat in that sense. Now, if you notice, so it is technically a 3-car garage down here. So we do have 3 garage doors like this, and we lose a lot of heat through those garage doors. So, just the standpoint of how they work. Like the one with the firewood, we do try to put kind of these on there just to kind of help hold it. But you can even see that, like that spider web right there, it's moving just a little bit. So there is just a little bit of a draft right there that is caused by having the garage doors. So we do lose probably a fair amount of heat in those. Whereas if you didn't have those, you could hold the heat better for sure. I may give you guys another update if we end up having to get another one going before tonight, but essentially that's the main thing of getting a fire going, and kind of getting it up the temperature, and kind of what to expect. It's a pretty easy process, and once you have the wood and everything, like for getting the firewood inside, like I showed this morning, basically we take the RTV and we'll fill up the back of it and fill up that spot inside, and that'll be, like I said, about a week's worth of wood. So you can move it from the wood shed up here and have some wood inside the house to where you're not having to go out and get it every time, which is very convenient. So that's one thing that makes it nice. Whenever you come down to get a fire going, you're not having to traipse outside. Whether it's been snowing or raining, you can get that done easily. Now, one thing, having it inside, you do end up just swept up and already have crumbs and everything, so you always end up with some mess inside. So depending on where it's located, like down here when it's on a concrete floor, just take the shop vac and can sweep that up. It's more in like a living space, so people have fireplaces and stuff like that, where it's kind of inside the main part of the house. It can be more of an issue, but down here that's not too much of a concern, and just go through and clean it up, every couple days. So that's what I have here. Thank you for everyone who's kind of submitted a couple comments about the wood stove. Hopefully this is informative and kind of gives you an idea of the wood stove itself, and some of kind of what a day is of having one, and kind of getting it going and feeding it. If there's any other questions that I didn't cover in this, I'd be happy to do another video kind of addressing those specifically. So if you have anything, just leave a comment, and I'll either respond in a comment, or if there's enough there, do another video on it. So I look forward to answering those if there's anything else out there. So thank you for watching. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Alright, so I've mentioned monitoring the temperature inside and outside the house. So this is what I have for monitoring the inside and outside temperature. So I have an AccuRite outdoor weather station. So this kind of tells you, obviously there on the left, the outdoor temperature, on the right, the indoor temperature. You have the wind speed in the middle, and then down below you can kind of switch between. But right now, have the feels like, so that's factoring in the wind speed, kind of tell you what the temperature is, and then the rain we've had in the past month, which I believe you can cycle through different things. There's different options, so you can see the different aspects there. So that's kind of the main thing we use, just to kind of see what the outdoor temperature is, and have that. So that's one thing, and then the other one is. So the other one is a Nest thermostat. So this is actually hooked up to the gas furnace, but the 74 there tells you what the temperature is here, and this is in the hallway kind of to the bedrooms. So it's a better representation of what the actual temperature is. The other one's kind of on a wall under a vent, so it kind of gets some of that residual heat. So it's typically a little bit warmer than this one is, but this will tell you temperature in the hallway. And if you're downstairs, like we do have this hooked up to Wi-Fi, so you can check it there. But you can also do this whenever you're downstairs, and we have a Google Dot that will respond. But you can do this too. What's the temperature in the hallway?
Heating is set to 59 degrees with a current temperature of 74 degrees.
There it'll give you that report of what it is. So if we're downstairs and trying to decide whether we need to get a fire, just ask Google, and it will tell us what the temperature is there. So you can kind of give a idea of what the temperature is inside the house, and whether or not you need to get a fire going. So it's one thing that is handy. And then having that Google Nest, you can use that to set up routines and stuff for the gas furnace. So with that, since it's our auxiliary heat, we'll use it like if we go on vacation or something. We'll have that just so it won't get too cold in the house. And then we also use it for the air conditioning since we have that hooked up as well. So those are just a couple things to kind of show you an idea of how we check the temperature in the house, and I've referenced it so that way, if you're looking at having a wood furnace, those things like that can be helpful just so you know what the temperature is. So whenever you're trying to maintain a fire or decide whether you need to get one going, you can do that. And the other thing that's important is, as I showed early on in the morning, is the little temperature gauge that you put on the chimney going out. It gives you an idea of what the temperature is so that you know how hot the chimney is getting, which will indicate if there's an issue like too much air or not enough air, if it's too cold. Then also shows you kind of getting the fire going. Make sure you have it going pretty, going well before, you kind of leave it and think that, okay, I got a fire going since there's not glass or anything on it. Think you have a fire going and it never really got going like you thought. So things like that are good safety things, like on that small thermostat. And then the ones up here are just handy to have, so you kind of have some idea of what's going on in the house, so that you can maintain a temperature or get the temperature to what you want.